let's just go. Here we go.
Whatever comes up, comes up. That's the way it works. This is live, baby. Here we go. We're going to start the show.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is True OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Rode Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
Oh, here we is. We're live. Who knew?
Wow.
Are you excited?
I don't know what I am anymore, Stephen. I left is right, right is left, up is down, down is up.
I don't know.
Nothing is real.
It sounds like Hilda's House of Pain every Thursday night. So
well, it's the world we live in.
Yes,
facts are what you want them to be.
Yeah.
Opinions are fact. Fact is opinion.
Yeah.
It's good God. I mean, I like to think I read a lot, and I don't even know what the hell is true and what isn't anymore. There's so many.
I bet you didn't read this 2 seconds ago across the FT. Russia says they don't want a ceasefire. They want long-term peace talks. Basically, that means they just want to move into the Ukraine. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I think, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Just trying to help out.
I don't know where to start. It's just been such a crazy, stupid time. Where should we start?
You can start with the State of the Union if you'd like.
I'll start with something that happened a while ago, and then we'll build into the local situation. So, okay. So just to be clear, anybody who doesn't know me, I don't have anything personally. I don't, because I don't know them well enough. I don't have anything personally against any political leader because I don't know.
Except Elon Musk.
Well, is he a political leader? I guess he is. He's your president now. So yeah. But it just amazes me what, like, I was doing my radio show the other day and people are going, "Are you anti-Trump?" I'm not anti him. I don't know him. I'm not personally against the man. And I've said time and time again, I get why he does what he does. I think if I'd had a rich daddy and I'd lived his life, I'm not sure I would have been any different, Stephen. I don't know. No one's ever told him no. He's always right. He's the greatest. He's someone who just talks about how great he is all the time. And I keep going, okay, I'm waiting for the punchline. And then there isn't one. I go, oh, who does that? Who walks around in company and says, I'm just fantastic. I'm so smart. No one does that seriously.
Right.
Even if
he does.
The smartest man on earth, you just don't do that. That's the part I find really weird. And people will just go, yes, sir, yes, sir. And I always think, freedom of speech. And when people say something against him, nothing personal, they just call out stupid behavior that would be, if I said that, you would call me out on that. And people go, oh, you're a left-wing liberal, and you and I go, but I'm not. I'm actually not. I'm not. I'm what is it? I'm fiscally conservative and probably socially liberal, but I don't fit into either box.
Right.
I reckon, I would say, listen to me, I'm getting excited about this. I would say that that's probably true of the majority of people. They don't fit into the Republican or the Democratic camp. They just don't.
Right.
The two camps, first of all, don't make sense.
Right.
They don't make sense. If you're a man who believes, or a woman, or in between, whatever you are, maybe you're a man today and a woman tomorrow. I don't care. That's your problem. A light bulb.
Not under Trump's administration. You're either a man or a woman. That birth. That's it.
But it doesn't matter. This is the thing that fascinates me. To me, tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
To me, my understanding of what each side is. So you've got one side that believes in the government. This is the Democrats now. Believes in the government. It must work. It must help. It must reach out. It must help people who have, fund, like Social Security would be a very much a Democrat thing, blah, blah, blah. And on the Republican side, no, we don't like government. It's small. It mustn't be involved in our lives. Stay the hell out of our lives. Let me do my thing. How am I doing so far?
Wrong. Here's why. Because now the Republicans want to be involved more in your
Well,
life.
hang on. I'm not saying. Okay, let me be clear. That was my perception of what what they were. I've always felt. In fact, a lot of me always thought I fit more into the Republican camp because I don't want governments fiddling in my life. I don't want a government telling me what my personal situation should be. If I need a program to export my goods overseas, fine, I'll get a hold of you. You serve me.
Right.
But basically, businesses run, certainly America, and because government people know nothing about business, and we'll give you a shout when we need a foreign policy. We'll give you a call. If we need a trade agreement, sure.
And just so you know, the governments don't know foreign policy or trade agreements either. So just so we're clear.
Right. Oh. But so what I'm saying in a nutshell is you have the one side, big government help, other side, small government. That's it. But then you get this thing where as you just said, you've got this overreach by one side and the underreach of the other. Right. So none of those principles apply. If you really believe in small government and a state of your life, then you may not like it whether someone is straight, gay, anorexic, whatever the hell they are. It doesn't matter. Why would you care what color they are, what gender they are? They can be 1,000 genders. Who gives a shit? Okay, sport is another story, but we've had this discussion. But ultimately, if my neighbor wants to do that, be that, wear that, worship that, and it doesn't impact me, that's fine. I don't have to agree with it. And I can say that I don't agree with it, but that's the end of it. I'm scared. What do you think of your neighbor's views on religion, gender, race? They are wrong. Okay, we agree to disagree, and that's it. We live in the same place, and that's called freedom. You do you, and they do them, and never shall the twain. When they start impacting each other, then we got a problem. Like with the sport thing. I don't care if someone's trans. I mean, it doesn't affect me. I'm not. I'm sitting here in my office. I don't see any trans people wandering around. They're not telling me to join the community. I don't care. It's none of my business. But if I have a daughter who's playing there and there's potentially a biological problem, then it becomes my problem.
Right.
And we discuss that with respect, and we say, right, my daughter's not going to partake because these are my views. Great. Okay, done. But
wait, I have a question.
This crap where we shove our goddamn opinion and thoughts on what the world has done other people's throats, and they are scum if they don't agree with us. Jesus, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. For the love of God, the thing that I've always admired about America, if you look at the history of the country, these are people who said, fuck Europe, we're going to go and we're sick of kings, we're going to go and build something. Here we go, boom. And we'll go there, get away from all of this. And when we get there, we'll draw up this amazing constitution. There will be no involvement with religion in the way the country is run. But you know what? You can worship a tree for all we care. And that's fine.
Sure.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But when you start telling other people what they must preach, what they must, what is it, that your values are now their values. What the fuck is that? This is the thing that amazes me. That is not what that country. I don't know if I'm wrong. Maybe it is what the country's about now. But my understanding was, and what I admired about America is that that wasn't it. You could live your life, be what you want to be, anything, even a president, be whatever the hell you want to be, right?
Well, the Democrats are the ones who did that. So the Democrats are the ones who are like,
Steve, I don't want to get onto a Republican, Democrat, blue.
Well, you kind of have to.
Hang on. That's the problem. No, hang on. That's all I see. That's all I see on this side of the world. I just see Democrats, Republicans, and no one communicates at all. It's just a Republican says something and a Democrat says that shit, and then a Democrat says something and a Republican says that shit, and no one listens. It's fucking ridiculous. And now you've got a guy in the office who I don't blame. I don't blame him. I know why he's there, because people got fed up with being told what to believe, how to operate, where to go, what to do, what to see, what they must believe. And they said, fuck you. We're going to get a guy in there who's going to tell you all to fuck off. And that's exactly what he's doing. And that's why he's actually, there's no surprise. And everyone's going, oh, look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. Yeah, but you pissed all those people off.
Right.
Now, my problem is you've got the anger flowing one way, then it flows the other way. And therein lies the problem. What happens when you get to the next cycle and people go, ooh, hell, that was a bit nasty. Look what's happened to our stock markets. And oh shit, is that how tariffs work? All right. And there's a flip. And let's be honest, Stephen, there has to be like a 10% movement one way or the other. No one, with a few notable exceptions in history, there haven't really been like majority this and majority that. It's an argument that moves from one side to the other. So at the next election cycle, the Democrats who take back the House, they could get the Senate, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because the margins move like that, which is exciting, but freaking annoying because fuck all gets done. And that's beside the point. And then I go, shit, China, I see what you're doing. No, but you got it. This is why the Chinese can do what they do. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I disagree with it. But they go, this is the way we're doing it, and that's the way it is. Can we debate it? No, because we decided. Now, this is the problem. I don't think either system is right. I don't think complete dominance of people is what we want. But at the same time, there's got to be some fucking leadership. There's got to be some, and the problem is the person you put in that position, they've got to know what the fuck they're doing. Now, I think you've got a situation where you've got a guy, like I said, I probably would be just like him if I'd had his life. I can't say I wouldn't. Can't say I wouldn't.
Okay.
Can't say I wouldn't. So I can't blame him. But there he is. He's doing what he promised. He is responding to what people wanted, and the majority voted for it. So,
and he's putting us in a depression. He's putting us in a depression. He's killing the stock market. He's killing global trade.
It's nothing. I know what he's doing, but I'm saying there's nothing undemocratic about it. There wasn't a coup.
It's fine. Yeah, no. It was perfectly. The coup comes in 28 when we don't have an election, apparently.
Then, hang on.
Yeah.
But then, you see, I'm with Australia on this one. Voting should be mandatory. That's one thing. If you sign up to the club, if you agree to have all those benefits, be the world superpower, whatever the fuck that means in 2025, whatever it is, if you're going to assume the position of leadership, then you assume all of it, the whole lot. You assume the responsibility to be informed more than anybody else. Don't worry about being number one. Be the most informed. Be number one informed. Find that out. If you're sitting in that top job, you've got to know. If you're not prepared to do that, get out of the office. Hand over power. But here's what I'm saying. When it comes time for voting, and there will be people who disagree with me. I could give two shits. Vote. You got to be there. Find out. Or leave. Yeah. That's the price you pay for being in the club you're in. That's it. Yeah. As Chris Rock or one of them says, you're lucky to be, like American citizens. Take the responsibility seriously. Or fuck off to Guatemala. It's fine. No one's stopping you. Go.
Hey, let me make your day. Go ahead.
One thing. What I want to say is this. But don't, for the love of God, sit there and say this is wrong and that's wrong when you've got, what is the voter turnout? Remind me, Stephen, percentage?
Oh, like very low, probably like 30, 40%.
Right. So 60% of people couldn't be bothered to be involved in the most important election. And this I will agree with. It is the most important election on the planet because it's connected to the biggest economy with the biggest influence. So fucking show up. Otherwise, leave. But at the same time, if you don't go and vote and you don't show up, then you need to shut the fuck up. That's what I'm saying. And there's so many people who I'm pretty sure didn't vote. The same shit happened in Brexit in the UK. Oh, we're never going to leave the EU. Guess what? Shoot yourself squarely in the foot. Boom. Because the people like let's put it this way. The Brexiteers and the Trumpers are very committed. And I respect that. I respect that. They show up. They're there. I don't think Trump is a single supporter.
64% showed up for.
I don't think. Okay, well, that's 36% that didn't.
Look at you doing that.
I don't think he's lost any support, because if I was someone who voted for him and I look at the rallies and I see what he promised, that is exactly what he's doing.
That's not true. That's not true. The Republicans have stopped having town hall meetings because they're getting bombarded. Now, let me just tell you what just came across.
Tell me what happened.
The FT wire.
Now that I've thrown stones in the pond, created ripples. Go.
So first of all, Trump threatens 200% tariffs on EU alcohol imports, wines, champagnes, and alcohol products. Basically, France and the EU. Thank God it's not on Scotch. Love that.
Yep.
So that's it's all that pussy drinking for fairies. And the other thing is, now on Republicans and Democrats, let me just say this: the problem that they have, both of them, is they forget they're Americans, and if they would approach their job as Americans, then we would not have the problems that we have as we see today. Just FYI.
What does that mean? I think I know what it means, but tell me what it means.
The problem is that what happened is that each side is a cult, right? The Democrats are like, oh, we've got to recognize the Republicans are going to screw you, blah, 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 blah. If they just said, we're Americans, and how do we make America's already great. How do we make it better?
It is.
How do we take care of our people? You're an American. Right now, what they're all trying to do is, how do we get rich? How do we profit from being in office? How do we do this? Oh, fuck those 300 million people that, voted for us, so to speak. We don't give a shit about them. How do we make ourselves oligarchs? And that's what's going on. We've lost sight of the Constitution. We've lost sight of what it means to be an American. We lost sight of what our democratic society is. And because of that, you have the bullshit you have today. It's that simple. I mean, your rant was very nice. But really, that's it. That's the problem we have. People don't realize, first of all, we're all stuck on the little blue planet together. Second, that at the end of the day, if you were born and raised in America, you're an American. And if you became an American citizen because you came from another country, you're probably more patriotic than the people that were born here. But
I would say that's true.
I know that's true. The idiots that are in the Congress, the Senate, and probably the local idiots as well, all are like the Republican this, the Democrat that. Nobody gives a shit. If I was going to run for any office, I'd be like, fuck, I don't give a fuck. I call it the American Party. I'm an American, born and raised. Well, I'm a New Yorker and then an American. Close enough. The New Yorker Party. And I'd be like,
I get it.
Here's what we're doing, kids. We're going to make the country good for everybody. You want to cut out transvestite mites from USAID and transvestite plays in Uganda? Fine, I'm good with all that. Now take that savings, start investing it in America. Let's get rid of our poverty. Let's get rid of hunger. Now they want to fuck up the education system, so rich people get educated and poor people are going to basically have a civil war and riot, I guess, or be slaves. And I'm like, why don't we fix the country? So the problem, and we've talked about this before, is that these guys are going A, B, C, D and stop. What about E through Z? And they don't. And that's what, and we've talked, I don't know if we saw it in this show, but on Lost Dollar Business Club, we were saying on the USAID, if I'm like, there's all this waste, and they had the 47 pages because they read from it. I mean, you were telling us like your daughter works for a center that gets funded by us to look at diseases. And I think on stuff that's bullshit, like a transvestite play and whatever, you can go line by line by line by line. And instead of cutting everything out like a bunch of idiots and did nothing, you could have done it over a 3-month period, had this better effect. Or when you got rid of everybody at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and you had to hire them all back because you realized that they guard our nuclear weapons and control nuclear waste. You're like, oh, that's a mistake. Yes, because your guy from South Africa's moron. I know. So my point is that, and then they got rid of everybody at Veterans Affairs, and then they had to quietly hire them all back because they realized the veterans are going to get upset. And these guys from like World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam have like, tanks that they brought home, and they're afraid that those are going to come down Pennsylvania Avenue. So the problem with it is, and I've said this before, I'm all for the idea of what they want to do. I think they need to get somebody in. And Trump, you can be president. I don't give a shit. You need to get rid of this South African monkey. He's done. He's useless tits on a bull. And I don't mean monkey in a bad way. Wait.
Objection.
Okay.
We revoked his status 30 years ago.
Okay.
Stephen,
he's a U.S. monkey.
You You
I
broke
can
him,
make him.
you can keep
Yeah.
him.
Ah,
There's
shit.
nothing.
Anyway,
There is
yeah.
nothing South African about him.
Okay,
So,
well,
yeah.
get rid of the monkey then. Whatever he is,
Yeah, send him back to
American,
Mars.
South Africa. I don't care. Let him go. I don't give a fuck what he is. Just get rid of this guy.
Yeah, get rid of him.
And bring,
I agree.
and bring somebody in with a few IQ points and says, okay, we're going to cut. Listen, a housewife from Dakota could do this job. She's
I
going to take
agree.
a piece of paper and go, let's see what we have. Oh, this is
can-
bullshit. And so you just start lining things out.
David,
And then when you've figured out what you're cutting, then you can look at, do we really need, I'm making up a number, 10,000 people in this department? Like yesterday, they let off 1,500 people in the Department of Education. Now, no clue what the Department of Education does, but it would seem to me that I'd want to go in there, go, what do you guys do? And if it's bullshit, it'd be like, let's get rid of it. And if you don't really control anything other than giving money to the states to agree with me, the federal government, then it's a lottery, right? I can spin a wheel and go, congratulations.
You need someone with more bite and less bark. The problem is,
Yeah.
I've said this before, and this is patronizing as hell. I could
Right.
give two shits because this is what we do here. We don't care on the
Yeah.
show.
Right. Basically.
Or whatever exhibition, whatever this is, whatever we're doing, we're not about, got to be. No, I don't.
Right.
I'm going to say this. I grew up I was raised by a single mom. My dad was around, but I was raised by a single mom. I was the world's youngest male feminist. So there.
Okay.
I'm not patronizing anybody. I saw at a very early age what my mother went through, and then on the basis of that, my eyes were open to all the. I mean, we live in this massively misogynistic world, which is quite It's quite misogyny, which is anyway. That's why I say patronizing. But I'm going to say this as a guy. I mean, you're a guy. I'm a guy. If there's something we have to admit inside every guy is this.
Yeah.
I'm above this crap. I don't need to be doing this. Someone else can do this.
Right.
And I don't think that. I'm not saying there aren't women like that, but I think women don't quite have that problem like we do. And let me tell you what I mean. The idea of trimming down a government, making things more efficient, getting things done, good.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. It requires a shitload of work, boring work, tedious work, administration. And I still think, not all women, but the right woman, their minds are better at this. I don't care if people disagree with me. Tough shit. I've seen more. I've worked with, maybe your experience is different, but the people who, it's almost like they have a corporate humility. They know what needs to be done. They're absolutely prepared to do it. They'll work for 5 hours on the most boring shit because someone has to get it done. Look at how most homes around the world are taken care of. I'm not using myself as an example because I don't want to get in the trans thing, but because of my mom, I'm probably half female anyway in my mind. But typical guys, you see, I'm throwing the stones, buddy. But seriously, most of my mates couldn't really give a shit about things like cleaning the house, getting things done, because someone else can do that, or don't worry about it. Women are much more concerned about it, getting the basics done, getting things done right. Now, I'm saying you've got possibly the most narcissistic twat in the form of Elon there, who is above everything in his mind. And he is the guy doing what? The grunt work to make the government more efficient. He is the last person that should be doing it. The idea is excellent. Excellent. Absolutely. I remember years ago reading a story, doesn't matter, and someone saying, yeah, we paid like $30,000 for a toilet seat and whatever. Fine. Okay. Bureaucracy is known globally. It's not just peculiar to America. It's here too. It's in the UK. It's everywhere. Bureaucracies are boring. They're inefficient. And yes, you go in there and you need someone to take care of it, but it's not showy. There's no fucking chainsaw. Give me a break. Right? It's not glamorous, and it requires a lot of work. And as you said, line by line. And if he was actually doing that, then I would say good. But all he's doing is standing outside the fucking White House in a Tesla, not a Tesla, by the way, the Tesla. There's no R in Tesla. And you've got the two of them trying to flog cars. And I go, but I got a couple of questions. Who's running SpaceX? Who's running Tesla? And who's doing the Doge thing? Because you're not doing it. You're not doing it. You're sitting there talking shit with your golfing friend, Dom. So this is what I'm saying. Guys, we like to, look at us. I'm on the White House with my mates and I'm in this fancy car. Look how great I am. And, Mr. President, this car is really just a golf cart. Oh, is that what you think of Tesla? You're the CEO. Oh, it's just really a fast golf cart, which proves you know fuck all about cars. But anyway, that's beside the point. So the point is, he's all about the show, and that's fine, and that's fine. He's the clown. What was the saying? You've heard of this when the clown goes into the what is the Middle East palace called? They don't call it a palace.
Middle Eastern palace. A tent.
All right. So when the clown goes into the palace, right, he doesn't become a sultan. The palace turns into a circus. That's what happens. And I think it's something like that. I probably screwed it up. But that's the point. It's become a joke. Now, if I was watching The Apprentice reunion, I'd go, this is magic. And he's right. Him having a fight with Zelensky, that was great TV.
Yeah.
But the problem is, there's some massive truths that are connected with that. And the weirdest thing is, I looked at it as an outsider, and I could see mistakes on both sides. I'm just going to say that right away. I watched that interview. Now, first of all, I'm going to say this at the risk of getting shot into a million people. I don't care. So the first problem was Zelensky should have known what he was dealing with. He's dealing with a child. He's dealing with children in suits. So he should have been, his people should have sat down and said, listen, you're going to feel the need, you're going to feel the need to react. We're saying, don't. This is what you got to do. And this is not news. Go in there. And this is not about being right, by the way.
Right.
What's his name? Volodymyr Zelensky.
Zelensky. Zelensky.
Right. Zelensky. So it's not about you being right. We're trying to get things done. Now, you're going to go in there and this is what you're going to face. It's what lawyers do. They prep their clients. Why? Fuck, go in there and realize what you're going to be going into. Now, they're going to hit you with this. They're going to hit you with that. This man is a reality star. This man actually hated the other guy up until recently. So there's a lot of bullshit in there. Remember that when you're sitting there, but just remember what's at stake. Okay? So just keep your mouth shut, smile, and say thank you a lot. Should you have to do that? No, but it's not about you. Think bigger picture. Right. That's the first thing. So that was the first side. The other side, well, we all know when you have people talking to a leader of another country and a reporter who was talking to the man saying, why are you wearing a suit? Later, I actually found out, I watched him on an interview, he says, oh, I wasn't trying to stir up the pot. And he genuinely believed that. And I want to say to him, go back and listen to your question. This is a leader from another country who's in the middle of a war, right? He's in a war. He's fighting a war. He's in time for brushing teeth and fancy suits and shit. And if he appears in an Armani suit, people go, excuse me, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
So there's both sides to this argument. And you have a reporter who's allowed to ask that. What Trump or Biden should have done, hang on, well, they should have done and said, I'm sorry, that is a very disrespectful question. Next question. We're not discussing what people wear for suits. If you see him on every media appearance, he's never worn a suit. So this doesn't come as a surprise to you either. So what I'm saying is this: the whole thing was handled really badly. However, it was great TV.
It was great TV. Here's the problem, though. There's no more real reporters anymore. The White House now is picking reporters. So they got rid of Bloomberg API and all like real reporters. Now they've got all YouTubers. So
is that because of the Gulf of America thing?
That's Gulf of America, I'm sure. And that's going to be more like, so Mr. Trump, what color is your underwear? Can't wait for that. Going back to women. If
Orange.
I talked to Donnie the other day, Donnie, you let me come in with the two girls that were, one was my controller for years. Another friend of mine's a forensic accountant. I said, I can clean up your problem in the government in about 18 months and you'll look like a hero. Get rid of the fucking moron. We're good to go. But that requires, but see, the problem is that when you run on, and we're going to get rid of it on day one, okay, and then you have to quietly bring people back. That's why all these town hall meetings are like, no, we don't want to do that anymore. The midterm elections are going to be very interesting. I think the Republicans are in for a rude awakening. I think if they planned it out a little more, like I said, they had people with IQ points, not just sucking his dick and agreeing with him 24/7 and said, listen, Mr. President, let me help you out. First, you look much better now that you're not so orange and your hair is now getting like gray. You're looking good. Second of all, lose some weight, you fat fuck. Third, to cut the money the way you want to. Here's what we need to do. And then you go into it because now you've complimented him. He looks good. He's got to lose a little weight. Now he's getting excited. And now you can help him cut money. And over an 18-month period, you did it the right way. So when you finally say, we cut, I'm making up a number, $100 billion, if you don't have to retract it the next day. Doge goes, we cut 80 billion or $1 trillion. And everybody's like, no, you didn't. You cut basically 1.9 billion because your numbers are misstated. This wasn't right. Oh, by the way, Biden cut that contract. And I mean, so you're a bunch of bullshit. And it was in the FT and the New York Times today. I thought it was great. It gave everything Doge is saying they've done. They're actually going, this number's wrong. It should be this. This is, the Biden people did that. It's like, blah, blah. So instead of trying to take credit, why don't you just do the job properly? And if you brought people in with IQ points to run it, not a 19-year-old who's never done shit, you don't have to look at computer code and ask people what they've done. Once you can start cutting budgets, you can figure out what you really need and not need. And the guys and girls who run it can tell you where they're bloated. It's like, tell me where you're bloated. They'll tell you, hey, we really don't need 27 people, filling toilet paper rolls. We need 4. Okay. That you start cutting stuff and you do it systematically. So when it's done, you really go and say in 18 months, we really did cut whatever the number, $1 trillion. People go, that's awesome. And we, transition these people to wherever they had to go, blah, 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 done. And everyone's gonna be like, that was cool. And then all of a sudden you're a hero. Right now, you're not only the laughing stock globally, you're the laughing stock in America. Because I know really staunch Republicans are like, we're voting for Trump. He's great. He's wonderful. And we have scotch and cigars. They're like, there's a problem here. I'm like, you think? It's like, he told you what he was going to do. Would you think he was joking? And that's the issue. It's like nobody really thought through it. And I'm saying, I like the concept and I've never said I didn't. I just would like some thought behind it. And I don't need some guy who got lucky, got here illegally, and a whole bunch of other stuff to be the guy doing it who doesn't have the concept of what you have to do. Because cutting what you did at Twitter, and I don't give a shit about Twitter and what you do with those people, because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect anybody because nobody gives a shit. What affects me is when you fuck around with my government, who's supposedly doing stuff for me, which I don't really say, but then that affects me and it affects 300 million plus other people. Now I have a problem. Now I want you to bring somebody in with IQ points. And like I said, I could clean up this mess with 4 other people in 18 months and be like, here you go. And it won't be sensational, but when at least we say, hey, we cut X amount of dollars, it'll be correct. And not sensational.
So Stephen, what do I know? Well, me neither. Well, I know nothing, which is great. So fine. Yeah. But then I'm not running for office, and I'm not telling foreign presidents how they should dress and insulting them in front of my president. So that's the thing. I get to be stupid and ignorant because I'm not sitting in the Oval Office with an expectation of decorum and restraint. Right. The thing for me, you were talking about Donnie and all that and Elon, and I just thought to myself, what you said, how much you got to praise him and say you look good and all that. Yeah. And as you were saying that, I mean, I know we know this, but I'm just going to mention this. You've got 2. I'm going to use the word men loosely. 2 men, male, non-female people who non-chest feeders. I don't know, whatever. But they both. I guess this has dawned on me before, but it's dawning on me now. This is why they love each other so much, because they love being loved. They love it when people tell them how good there was a play called Twelfth Night, and there was a character called Malvolio in Twelfth Night, and he always used to say, if music be the food of love, play on. He was in love with the idea of love and being loved.
Right. Yeah.
And I realized that both these guys, they look. I don't want to speak about their marriages and relationships. My opinion, for what it's worth, doesn't seem that loving. Don's been married a few times. That's a bit strange, especially with the hat thing. And Elon, well, there you go. I've been married.
Wait, did you hear what his latest wife did? The latest baby mama reached out. He won't return her phone calls, so she puts on X. We need to speak about, I guess, her son getting vaccinated. She goes, you can't keep ignoring me. You actually have to call me back. She posted that on X. I thought that was great.
No, that is great. So, but I'm saying that both of them, I don't think if they're honest with each other, if that's possible,
Yeah.
when they're sitting on their golden bogs on their phones, tweeting or Xing or whatever the fuck we call it now, they both. I think for every man, you can bullshit the world as much as you want. You know, you can, but in your own head, you know you're not loved. You know that, and when the two of them get together, they stroke each other's egos in a very incestuous way, very incestuous way, and I think that is part of the attraction.
Romance.
I think there's some issues there. I do,
but
hang on. But what I'm saying is, you know, I'm not judging. It sounds like I'm judging. I don't care if none of us. Nobody's perfect. I've clearly got some unresolved anger issues. I do. I know. It's fine. Okay. But I've managed to be married for 30 years, so I can't be all bad. And I had a great which I think has helped.
Right.
I'm not better than you or anyone else. I just whatever. There's some things I've fucked up and others I haven't. But I think those two they lie to themselves on an astronomical scale, excuse the pun, and like no one has ever lied to themselves before. And it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. But the problem is you've now got these two very challenged people. Yeah. Hey, DEI, here we go, baby. Two challenged people in that position, making an absolute mockery of what I think. Look, Stephen, I've said this before. I think America is great. The country, the Constitution, fuck, it's amazing. It's a massive, successful enterprise. It's the greatest societal experiment ever. You get the biggest money, the fanciest stuff. There's some really good shit there, right? And it's young, it's big, it's exciting, it's done amazing things. It is great. It is already great. But you've got two buffoons pissing all over it. And I go, why the fuck are they there? You've got one character whose father built stuff and then gave him money. The other fool, who, as you rightly said, there's some few questions over his student visa and stuff. And now he's done okay and maybe not doing so well. And they're running your country. Fuck. Well, what? It's such a great country. I don't know if it's going to stay great with two buffoons.
We're done.
There. But again, this is not a political thing. This is for fuck's sakes, get back what you had thing. Because there were some very smart people. We've spoke about the founding fathers. They were children. They were babies. And they were smart as fuck. And they could see 200-300 years into the future. They understood conflict, how they had a better understanding of how people argued, how a conflict worked, how what could happen. And they covered all of that. And they wrote this constitution and said, for fuck's sakes, change it if necessary. It's not a commandment. It's an operating manual with amendments. We don't know everything. We are humble about what we've done, but there you go for it. We've got a structure put in place. And they actually were very humble people, very smart people. And I go, what happened to them? What would they say now?
They died.
What would happen? What do you think would happen if they were there now? If they could somehow bounce through time and they were alive now, what do you think they would say about?
And we'd have American Revolution #2.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I think they would be like, "This is what's this fucking place?"
Isn't what we wanted.
Go back to the old days. Yeah, Georgie would be on his horse again, and there you go.
This wasn't the plan. It really was not the plan. What the fuck are you kids doing?
Yeah.
And you've messed with this amazing thing we've created. I've always said to you as well. I mean, my friend, my broadcaster friend in Oklahoma always used to say to me, he said, "You like this American with a foreign accent?" Well, I said, "Sure, man. I can change the accent if you like. That's not a problem." And then I'm the whole package. But it just frustrates me. You said immigrants and people who've moved are often more patriotic, and I do agree with that,
because 100%.
It's almost as if people come from things. I mean, this place, wow, another podcast. We'll talk about it then properly. People come from all parts of the world, and they've endured things that Americans can only imagine or see in a Disney movie. They have no idea, which is fine. Which is fine, by the way. You don't want that. You don't want that. You want that freedom. That's what America's supposed to be about. But now they're looking at that going, what are you guys doing? It used to be the Holy Grail.
Right.
What are you doing? There's literally a statue in the harbor, which was donated by the French, by the way, in about 250 pieces. But
it's French.
It's French. But the thing is, they felt that strongly about America that they donated the Statue of Liberty. Can you believe that? And they stuck it there. These, I don't know, people 200 years ago or whatever just seemed to be more. They didn't have a. They were. They were prepared. They said, "This is what we believe. This is what we're going to stand for." And by the way, here's a big statue because we believe in you. And now, you've got the children of very rich people. I look at it. I use that analogy. There were some super brilliant people that, except for McKinley, maybe not McKinley. I'm just kidding. or Truman. But anyway, I'm not going to get into those. But the point is,
he was from the show me state. He got in trouble showing the staff things all the
yes,
time.
I know. But by and large, you had some truly great people. And if you look at some of the writings of Abraham Lincoln, I mean, he was younger than me when he died, for the love of God. And look at the stature of that man, and you go, and he was one of many.
Go to a play.
What's that? Yeah,
I should not to go to any plays. So that's why Trump won't go to the correspondence dinner or any plays. I don't blame him.
It's fine. It's fine. But they I'm sure they didn't want to die, but they didn't seem to be afraid of standing up for something. They were from an era where I don't know, maybe Stephen, maybe if they had the internet and the support systems we all have now, maybe they would have been more cowardly. I don't know. But the point is they didn't have that.
What the fuck is a support system? I'm from New York.
Right.
You know what your support is? Your support is you. That's your support system. You count on nobody but you.
Yes. But that is not true of a lot of people. Majority of people.
Our JD Vance's support system's a couch.
Access to this and access to that, and I have the right to do this and the right to do that. You must recognize. Oh my fuck! I mean, as you've said, can you imagine pulling that shit with your parents? I have the right for this. You would be halfway through the word right, and you'd be poof. What were you saying? Sorry, what? What?
You may remember.
Your rights mean nothing.
Before they made the safety belt law, and the back seats and the front seats were just these benches that you sat in. And if you were in the back of the car while your dad was driving, and if you're like, you passed something like, oh, can we go to Carvel? And he's like, no. And he'd be like, I want to go to Carvel. While he was driving, just turned around and go, really? Poof. And he'd be like, okay, I don't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
Like, boom. And back then, you got in a car accident and everyone would die because there was no safety belts or airbags. They just hosed the car down and sold it to somebody else. It's like, okay, everything's vinyl. There's no leather. And the dashboard, the thing, would you like this car? It's at a discount. I mean, it's a different way.
Oh, jeez.
I used to ride a bike without a helmet.
You could say shit.
And my point is, I would ride bikes without helmets. We would climb trees. We would fall down. We would hurt ourselves. And then we'd go home, and we'd come home with scratches and nicks and whatever. And my mom would say, did you break anything? I'm like, no. And she goes, okay, we'll put the Bactine here, here, and here. Go take your shower. And I'm like, okay. I mean, even when I played Pee-wee football, or even when I rode a bike and I would come home and I would look like I just came out of a war. My dad would be like, oh, you had a good day? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. It's like, okay, go take a shower, clean up. Today, if a kid goes outside, it's like, we're going to put the helmet on him. We're going to put some elbow pads, some knee ball pads. We're going to put a vest on him, and we're going to put a tracker on him. When we were kids, I heard this comedian say, which is true. When we were kids, there was a television thing, and at 10 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Yeah, they had to ask you because they forgot they had children. They're like, oh, yeah, I think they're upstairs. So they could be out playing. We knew when the lights came on outside, we should probably go home. Yeah. So it's a different world. Much different world.
It's pretty sad that it's like this. But I will say from what you said, I think the idea of freedom is gone. I don't think
there's no freedom.
I don't think there is no freedom.
No freedom.
And I think also there's so much information, just sort of circling back to what we were talking about. There is so much information that people don't know whether they're coming or going. And I think that's kind of where your orange friend is succeeding. Yeah. There is a campaign of constant bombardment. It's a train wreck of this, of that, of this. And people are going, yeah, this must be good. It's just happening all the time. And I think to get sort of conspiracy theory about it, I think it's orchestrated. It's designed. It's a bit of a shock and awe thing. And people don't know, honestly, whether they're coming or going. And they think, oh, well, this must be good. But they haven't got time. There's no time to analyze it. I read recently that the pace of change and executive orders and whatever you want has gotten so crazy that they've even got these the press releases. They write these press releases. They've literally got things where insert fact here, and they haven't had time to put it in. So the thing goes out with a placeholder in the press release because they can't get these media things out fast enough. There's just such a pace, and shit flies through. I want to say one thing though. I've heard a couple of people saying, yeah, well, the reason why things are going badly now with the stock exchange, this is fantastic, by the way. It's brilliant diversion. What do they call it? It's Bidenomics. We're transitioning to Trump economics. And I go, okay, I'm going to take issue with that. I'm going to take issue with that. A couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I think we kind of speak the same language. I'm pretty sure I heard your boss say day one everything would be better. Okay. But it's all right. We're now March, but all right, honeymoon period kind of over. But here's something I will say. Go and watch a movie called Ants. It's an animated feature called Ants. I think Kevin Spacey is in it as a voice. So don't worry, you won't see him. You'll just hear him. And he plays
touch other ants.
The leader of the grasshoppers. And they invade the ant colony. And they're going to take over. They're kind of like the protection mafia, right? If I remember correctly. So they come in and it's like the ants do what the grasshoppers want to do. This big grasshopper standing there. I take it by your reaction you haven't seen this movie. So let me just explain.
Yeah, it has Woody Allen as the head ant.
Oh, you have seen it. Great. Woody Harrelson, I think you mean?
No, Woody Allen.
Was Woody Allen in it as a voice?
Woody Allen was the star. Here, I'm going to look up the movie
Ants. Are you sure? Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, point is
1998 film. Go ahead.
So Kevin Spacey lands as a grasshopper in the I guess the underground palace area, and he's reviewing the changes in leadership, and he says, "Oh, under new management, are we?" And blah blah blah, and they start making excuses. Oh, Bidenomics, whatever. And he goes, No. The first rule of leadership: everything is your fault. That's what I'm saying. If you take the job, get rid of the rearview mirror. It's all your fault now. That's what being a boss is. And believe, this is the craziest thing for me. That shit is what these people here in South Africa say. And, you know, it is this, well, it used to be a first world country, but that's another conversation. It did. It really did. But that's another story. And I'm not saying the political system was better, but certainly the roads were better and electricity worked and there was water. And yes, it was only designed for 5 million people. I get that. So I've had this conversation, but there it is. Okay. But 31 years, we had the first democratic elections in 1994. You'll see the parallel. In 1994, we had the first democratic elections. It's coming up for 31 years. I know that because my wife and I got married 3 days before those elections. Right. So 4 days, actually. 4 days before the election. So we had a very short honeymoon. And 31 years later, I was a child when I got married. Look at me now. I've got grown-ass kids. My point is, it's a long time. It's a long time. They are still saying, oh, well, apartheid this and apartheid that. And you go, are you shitting me? You have been the boss for more than 30 years. Shut the fuck up and own the job or get out. You can't keep blaming the past. Good Lord, man. Build a museum. Make people remember. All right, like the Holocaust thing. I'm going to get back to the Jews, for example. They didn't come out and said, "Oh well, whatever." They could have, but they built shit. They got on with it.
That's right.
But for the love of God, build the Holocaust Museum. Get Steven Spielberg to do those programs. Preserve the memory. Remember. But they don't. Nobody makes excuses. And say what you like. I'm going to use the Jewish community for example here for a minute because, my dad was or he wasn't or whatever, and you are and whatever. But what I'm saying is the one thing that you cannot argue with and why everybody's so goddamn threatened is because to a man, to a woman, all the Jewish people I know get the fuck on with it. They get on with it. They can do all this and do all that, whatever. But they're like, it's our problem. We can fix it. It's us. We'll do it. And that is certainly a group of people that are gone, well, look what happened to us. Now, but what they have done is they've preserved the memory, made sure of that. And if you don't know what the fucking Holocaust is, I don't know where the fuck, Venus, you welcome. Hello, welcome to Earth. My point is, if something bad happens, fucking build the biggest monument to it. Make the kids go and see it. Educate them, because that hasn't happened. Educate people, not just the Holocaust. There have been things all around the world. We've forgotten. It's like we've just forgotten history. Jesus, the Second World War, and now people are wondering about NATO. Are you fucking kidding me? And Germany, oh no, you guys arm up. France, carry on with the nuclear thing. Are you insane? Read a fucking history book. And that was just the other day, right?
Yeah.
So my point is, when you start bringing up the past, when you're in a position of leadership, you look like a fucking idiot. That's what I'm saying. You may be right, but that's not what people want. They vote for you. You appointed that position. You cut the past. You cut it back. It's gone. We focus on the future. People don't want to be running their lives looking back, because that's how you fall. I'm just saying. And I'm so tired. And when I heard these people say Biden economics, I'm going, fuck you. You've been in office 2 months. You didn't put the tariffs weren't there. You did it. So stop blaming. What I'm saying is be honest about it, but don't stop blaming other people, because that's what the people here do. That's what losers do. Losers.
That's true.
Losers blame other people. So they really need to take that. Like Will Smith told Chris Rock to get his wife's name out of his mouth. Well, get Biden out of your mouth and own the problem.
Well, that's a bad example, because Chris Rock should have either filed a lawsuit against him or had him arrested.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is get the Biden thing out of your mouth. If anything goes wrong, Joe Biden's sitting there in Delaware right now, and he's going,
well, he's got Alzheimer's. He's got no clue where he is. He's in Delaware. He's just dribbling. Uncle Joe doesn't know. But two things. Biden left with the best stock market ever. And number two, I think I've told this joke before. It's about a Russian premier. You can use any Russian premier. But when the Russian premier was leaving and the new premier was coming in, he said to him, listen, he goes, I'm giving you these 2 envelopes. And he said, when you're in deep shit, you open one, and in deep shit, you open 2. He goes, okay. So about 3 years into his term, or we'll use Trump for this example, 40 days into the term, he opens the first envelope and he goes, blame me. So he blamed the past premier, how terrible, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's great. A couple of years later, shit hit the fan again. He opened the second envelope and it says, write two envelopes, write 2 letters. So to your point, you can only blame Biden for so long, and Trump blames everybody. Obama was terrible, Clinton was terrible, Nixon was terrible, George Washington was terrible, everyone was terrible. Trump's the best. And people are really getting to a point like, no, we don't give a shit, because he says it's going to get tough. We're going to have inflation. I don't want to be rude or anything, but we never came out of the 2008 depression, not a recession, but a real depression. And if this keeps going, we're going to go into a deeper depression, not recession. And you're going to have a bigger problem, because people won't be able to afford things. There won't be jobs. So you have anarchy. So if you want to be a dictator of like a Russian state, you're doing a great job. But if you want to be the president.
President, Steve, what happened? Steve. Steve. What happened? Steve? Oh. What happened?
We're saying. We're back.
Wow. What happened there?
That was really crazy, man. They didn't
That was strange. Did you,
welcome?
Was I frozen? Could you see me?
I think we were all frozen, and now we're here.
So you said something about president, and you went president.
Oh, I said if you want to be president, then be president, and not this ridiculous crap. So and then that was it, and then we went frozen. I was just making a point about being the president of the United States.
Can I just say this, because we kind of get into the end. I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, I think sort of to summarize something which I reckon the majority of reasonably, I can't call myself mature. I don't want to ever be mature, but anybody who's been through stuff, who's got bills to pay, who's raised children, who's traveled the world, and I do say that, someone who's traveled. Right. I find people from every country that I've met, regardless of where they're from, that have traveled, have got there is a parallel viewpoint. They seem to connect in many ways in terms of how the world works. People who haven't traveled tend to have these very myopic island views, if I can put it that way. Anyway, that being said, so I just want to say that I think it is there's no need to make America great again. It is great, but I don't think it's about people. I think it's about an ideal. It's still there. It still exists. It's fine. The Constitution hasn't been burned yet, although you keep saying it might be. I mean, there you go. But what I think what bothered me the most about it, facts notwithstanding, and attacks. I don't want to attack anybody, but we've mentioned this before. There seems to be an inability to disagree. If you don't like what someone says, you don't have to respond. I work on a radio show, and there are a lot of people who say some really dumbass, stupid things to me on our WhatsApp line. So we have this WhatsApp line, and you get, I'll crack a joke. I'm going to do my nun joke. I must do my nun joke before I go.
You did your nun joke.
I'll tell huh?
You did it a couple weeks ago, the nun joke.
Did I do the nun joke?
The one this is about the cigarettes and the contraceptive.
Have I done the nun joke? No, it wasn't the nun joke. All right, I'll think of okay, it wasn't the nun joke. All right. Is it the carpet? Have I done the carpet one for you with the woman with the carpets?
Nope. Carpet we haven't heard.
Right. I'll do that one for you. Right. So here we go.
Okay.
Anyway, so I tell these idiotic jokes.
Yeah.
And you'll get 6 people, 7, 8, 9, and then it goes, hey, big smiley emoji. And then you'll get one guy who goes, that's not funny. But that's fine. There was a leader, I think it was Franklin D. Roosevelt, who said, and it's the famous quote, you can please some of the people some of the time, finish it.
But you can't get up and walk because I'm in a wheelchair. Yeah, no.
Right.
You can't please some of the people some of the time. You can please some of the people
some of the time,
all the time, but you can't please everybody.
Yeah. And he's gone. Steve, oh dear.
But you can't please everybody all the time.
You back? You keep freezing. You back?
I'm right here. I haven't gone anywhere.
And you keep going, and then nothing. Maybe it's just my connection. Maybe they cut the undersea cable again. The point is,
probably Russians, bastards.
I think what you probably find what bugs people most about the orange guy is this inability to just ignore criticism. You don't have to respond to everything. You can't. No one's going to like you all the time. I'm your favorite president. Incredible. Dude, grow the fuck up and be a president.
Right.
If you're a father, if you're a leader, if you're the CEO of a company, people will hate you. It's a fact. Your kids will hate things you do. There's no need for you to become a child, become an employee, become a fucking college student and go, why'd you say things about me? You're 70. What is he? 78 years old. Jesus.
No, in the 80s? Is he 78? I thought he was in his 80s.
Whatever. He's close. He's 80-ish. Okay. The point is, I hope to God, if I'm lucky enough to get to that, I will. And even now, don't care. There's a French saying, "Je m'en fiche." I don't care. Don't. For the love of God, why do you have to respond to everything? Every time someone says anything about him, he goes, "Oh, that guy's a loser. He's a Republican in name only. He's a writer." And you go, dude, you left the third grade 500 years ago, right? Yeah. You're the president. Jesus, there's a big white office. It's a magnificent, the White House, which is going to take on a different meaning, by the way. Now, I said that on my show the other day. Oh, I got into trouble for that. And I said, what? Elon Musk, Donald Trump, the White House. Hello. Read whatever you want into that. It's a joke. Fuck, it's a joke. All right. It's
not really a joke. Really. It's true. It's fact, but we'll use it as a joke. So.
But humor is good if it's got a hint of truth to it. That's why it works.
It's true.
There you are. It's true. Exactly. And it's funny as well. So you've got this magnificent country, this international stature. It's important for it to be preserved. You need someone. You have to have a leader in the world. Right. I'm sorry that who do you want to step into that leadership role? So right now you have
oh, never mind.
Huh?
Underdog. Yes. Mighty Mouse. Any of them.
All right. So I'll quickly tell you this. I'll quickly tell you the story. What else did I want to say? Before I tell you the story, I have to say I've bumped into a lot of Americans here in Johannesburg, a lot, and they're not tourists. It's interesting.
There you go.
Interesting. Right. I must have in the last week alone. It is a straw poll, I admit that, but I must have bumped into Stephen. I mean, obviously, I meet a lot of people at functions and events and stuff, but probably about 35 couples and families in the last
70
week.
People. I can do the math.
Yeah. Well, they've got kids with them as well. Their kids are with them. That's when I know these people are serious. And not.
So when you bump into them, is it like this?
In department stores, buying the milk, buying eggs. Right. Yeah, that's a long way to come for cheap eggs. That's all I want to say. That really is. What is the price of eggs there right now, if I may ask? A dozen.
So I bought a dozen eggs yesterday.
Yeah.
It cost me $7.69, where it used to cost me $4.25.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I used to throw at the people. So because they're
right.
Yeah.
But now you go, hang on a second. This is
I don't want to. Now it's just like it's too much.
All right. Well, anyway, so it's interesting. So the quick joke I wanted to tell you was there's this woman. She goes into a rug shop and she's realizes this stuff is way out of her price bracket, but she just wants to have a bit of a feel. So she's standing there feeling the rugs and feeling them, but she's leaning over. You see, she's leaning over. She's got her hands and like, oh, it feels so good. And as she's doing that, she gets carried away and she lets one rip. Lets one go. Yeah. And then she straightens up because now she's super embarrassed. She's like, okay, I hope no one did. Did anyone see me? Whew. Well, that was quite a bad one. And she's standing there taking in the smell. And there's a guy standing next to her. He suddenly notices a chap standing next to her and says, can I help you, ma'am? Now, of course, she's like super embarrassed. And she goes, okay, I've got to say something. She says, thinks of the first question. She says, well, how much is the how much is the rug? And he goes, well, if your reaction to feeling it was to let one go, when you hear the price, you're gonna shit yourself.
I love it. Wait, before we go, tell the nun jokes one more time, because that is funny, and I've told it several times.
Have I not? Didn't we tell it?
I don't know if you told it on air. I think you told it off air. So tell it on air.
All right, here we go.
Before you tell that, tell everybody what lies between an idiot.
Oh no, you have to do. Oh, what now? What borders on what is a
what borders between an idiot? What
Canada and Mexico
border? Oh, Canada and Mexico? What borders between an idiot, Canada and Mexico?
I take no credit for that.
Yeah,
it's a joke. I heard it. Apparently, it was in a German newspaper called Die Bild or something. Anyway,
those Nazis, they have good humor. All right, let's go with it. We're going to end the show with the nun joke, because this is hysterical, and then that'll be a good short. Go ahead.
All right, so I think that's the same in the States, but here you're not allowed to smoke inside, so you have to go outside. Is that true? Is that same there, Stephen? Yes. You have to go outside. Right, good. Okay, we have the same law here. All right, good. But there's this one day, it's pouring with rain, and these two nuns trying to have a smoke outside, but of course it's raining. So the one nun pulls out a condom. She cuts the end of it off, pops a cigarette through it. Bob's your auntie. And the other nun looks at her and says, what's that? And she goes, oh, this is a condom. She goes, a condom? Where do you get those? She says, just pop down to the drugstore, the chemist. Yeah. Great. Okay. So she heads down to the chemist, drugstore, pharmacy, whatever you call it in your country, and walks in and says, hi, I'm looking for a box of condoms. Right. Now, of course, the guy behind the counter is like, wow, okay. Right. Congratulations. How big? What size? What must the condom be? And she goes, oh, good question. It's got to be big enough to cover a camel.
I love it. Everybody, don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments. We will be back next Thursday with Rob Vega on Vaguely True, Vaguely News. The rebroadcast is on Friday mornings if you happen to miss the show, and join us live for your own comments. Always good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. And to all you penguins out there, don't send us any letters. We don't really give a shit. And to the Pope, you just keep causing the end of the world there, buddy, with those funny shoes. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to this Roald Woods, Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.